Well, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it might be. Hello, hello. And today we are going to talk all about how to get ready and prepare for a big adventure. Specifically for myself, I'm getting ready to go on a 10-day sea kayaking expedition in Baja. And so this is just kind of a nice space for me to really share like what I'm doing to get ready for that. And also, yeah, you can apply this to any expedition or bigger adventure that you might be planning. I know a lot of us tend to, you know, want to do a bigger adventure. Maybe it's sea kayaking, maybe it's even hiking, or, maybe even just like a few days of backpacking, maybe a longer backpacking trip, anything like that, where it's like a mix of kind of vacation and fun and pleasure, but also might require that your body does something that is potentially a bit extreme compared to what you usually do on a day-to-day basis. And so it's like how do you get ready for that, right? How do you make sure your body's going to stay happy and healthy and safe, especially if there's a history of injuries, which is certainly the case for me, right? So thanks for joining me. My name is Linnea. I am the owner and founder of Limber Arts, Pilates and personal training here in Olympia, Washington. I teach in person and I also teach online, so lots of offerings for you wherever you might be on the globe. And yeah, I've been doing this for nearly 2 decades now. Currently, I really work with people that are in chronic pain, struggling with old injuries, history of surgeries, kind of feel like they've tried everything. And that was also my story. And that's really why I do what I do now. And so let's get right into this idea of like staying pain free, happy, and healthy, even as you maybe decide to actually go on a bigger expedition or adventure or something like that. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm probably about 8 weeks. I hope it's 8 weeks. It might be 7 weeks now out from kind of when we are heading out. We're going to Baja. And here's the things that I have been doing, right? So, one thing that I'm really happy with is that, a few buddies and myself, we made this plan like almost a year ago. So, we've been working up to it just mentally, knowing that this is coming. And that has really helped to have plenty of lead time to kind of wrap my head around it, wrap my body around it, kind of slowly prepare both mentally and physically. And so, I kind of had imagined that over the summer we would actually be training more, but of course it was the summer and November seemed so far away. So here we are, like 8 weeks out, and I'm really starting to dig in to like, okay, time to really genuinely start training for this, right? And really, I have been doing a little bit probably for a good maybe month at least, maybe even a little bit more than that leading up to this. So now I'm at this point where I'm just really full on digging in, right? And so what does that look like? Okay, so what that looks like for me, one, a buddy and myself, right, are meeting at least weekly, trying to do twice a week to go kayaking, right? So just actually getting out on the water and doing the thing, right? So whatever that is, maybe it's hiking for you, like actually going out and doing the thing. So we're doing that, and obviously an accountability buddy or just a buddy is a great way to kind of help make that happen. And then the other thing that I've done is I've actually hired a personal trainer to help me stay accountable to really gaining specific strength for this, right? Like we're kind of coming into winter, we're trying to get out on the water and kayak at least twice a week. But like I just know that as it gets kind of colder and wetter and rainier and darker, that it might be kind of hard to actually get on the water twice a week. And so to make sure I'm still fitting in like some good workouts that are going to prepare my body, I've like hired a personal trainer and shared with them that that is my goal, to make sure that I'm kind of strong and resilient and ready for this 10-day kayaking adventure. So, I mean, we're going to be kayaking, they said 8 to 20 miles a day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, 20 miles a day, that's really freaking far. It's a little bit intimidating for me, especially, with my history. I have a lot of neck and shoulder injuries in the past, and they're doing great. I'm feeling super confident in my body. I'm feeling really trustful of my body. I'm feeling really strong. And so, 90% of me is just feeling really excited. And then there's a little part of me that's like, I really hope I don't hurt myself. Like, this is a lot of twisting and pulling and things like that. So it was a no-brainer for me to be like, I just really want to hire somebody else that's going to be watching my body and kind of thinking about like, what's the best exercise or how is she moving, right? Like, and just to kind of have that sanctioned hour per week that I'm with them, right? So that's another thing that I'm doing. And then the kind of third, more organized thing that I'm doing is just making sure that I've got some regular body work scheduled. And actually, now that I'm saying that, I'm like, I should probably schedule a few more, right? So it's like I have a couple body work sessions scheduled right now. And I'm like, I could up that to like 3, if not maybe 4 even. I don't know. Don't need to go overboard, right? But like definitely at least 2 or 3 is kind of how I'm feeling right now. So making sure I get those in before we leave. And then the last thing that I'm doing is just kind of my own daily movement practice is definitely influenced right now with knowing that I've got this big trip coming up. And so I've identified, it's not like this whole big long workout, but I do have probably about 5 exercises that I've identified where I'm like, okay, this is, like when you kayak or row or anything like that, your forearm muscles actually can get really fatigued in your hands and all that gripping and stuff like that. And so I've kind of identified that like, whoever really focuses too hard on like building your grip strength and your forearm strength, unless, like for specific reasons, right? And so that's where I'm like, that's not usually something that I do. But now I'm trying to make sure that like not just general upper body, but like also really like my hands and my grip strength and my forearms, like my whole upper body is really strong and resilient. So there's a couple exercises I've added into my regular program for that. And then just kind of like a handful, like probably 2 or 3 other exercises that are going to help me really build this resiliency of rotation, right? So building some active strength and resiliency around rotational strength, twisting, pulling, twisting and pushing, things like that, which is so much of what kayaking is, right? I mean, you just twist and pull and twist and push and twist and pull and twist and push. So I want to make sure that my body is really used to doing those movements, repetitively and consistently. So yeah, there you have it, my friends. That's what this is looking like for me. I'm super excited. It's making me feel kind of happy and motivated to dig into my own training program a little bit more intensively, right? Than just like, okay, trying to do my regular program. So it's fun to have something to work up towards. And I'm just really curious to hear from you. What is your version of this? Is it a marathon? Is it backpacking? Is it something on the water? What is this for you? And feel, take a lot of liberty to kind of, if you're somebody that's maybe struggling with a bit more pain or discomfort or limitations in your ability to be active and mobile, what would be the equivalent for you? So if this story is maybe making you feel, a little frustrated, like, oh, that's so far out of reach for me, then, because there was definitely a day in the past, years ago for me, when I would have maybe been invited to do something like this, and part of me would have wanted to say yes, but I just absolutely would have said no. And so I totally get that feeling of just feeling really discouraged, feeling like that's not accessible to you, things like that. And my hope is that this can really inspire you to find your own way that this translates for you. So please share in the comments below. I can't wait to hear what this is for you, especially as we come into winter, right? Kind of a little bit of a darker, gloomier time. Like, how great is it to have something to work towards that will make sure you stay active and mobile throughout the kind of colder, darker times that we're coming into now. All right, my friends, I will see you next time. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me.